Hello and welcome to this walkthrough of how to synchronize data from a form to a CRM SaaS application and a CX SaaS application using Oracle Integration Cloud. My name is Karre Lawson and I'll be guiding you through this walkthrough. For this demo, I built a quick React front-end application to send the form data through to the OIC endpoint. In other videos, you may have seen me simulate this process using an API testing tool known as Postman. Now, if we go into the SaaS application, we can see the contact was created. And if I click in, we can see all the data, the address, the email, phone number, etc., that was entered in the respective fields. From this other view, we can also see an opportunity was created passing through the account name. Transitioning over to the customer experience application, we can see here too, a contact was created using that same data. Now that you have a better understanding of the use case, let's start in the OIC Integration Designer page to create the connections to the applications we'll be using in the integration. Once I click Create, you see here a window with our library of pre-built adapters, which are modules of encapsulated resources that allow for more rapid development, which we will see in action later. We're going to only configure the Sales Cloud, as I've already configured the others. You will see here, we only need to provide it with a few bits of information, connection properties, and a username and password, and that's it. We can go on to building the integration. Now let's move on to building the integration. I will click on Create, and from this style selector, I will choose App-Driven Orchestration. Give the integration a name, and start it off with a generic REST trigger that I will call Sync Sales and Marketing. And then move on to defining the schema for the response and the request. Please note, I skipped over the first invoke because it'll be similar to the third. So next, we will move on to adding our second invoke, which we'll call the CRM application for a second time. This is one of our pre-built adapters, so I will give it a name and a description, and then go on to select the business object and operation to perform on said data, and then go on to map the data sent from the source. I will now add in our third invoke, which, similar to the first, which I didn't show, will just create a contact. However, this time, the contact will be created in the customer experience application. I'll configure the details prompted and move on to mapping. To finish this integration, we are going to configure the response. If we wanted, we could map this back to the page, or if we were using an API testing tool, on success, this response would be returned to us in the console. For this response, I'm going to concatenate a sentence onto a request wrapper item. So it's going to say successful creation of this contact in your Sales Cloud and Marketing Cloud for the email address. So we're going to go into mapping components, go under functions, and then string, and we're going to add that sentence to the email using the concat function that's built in there. Finally, we need to select a business identifier which OIC requires for tracking purposes. Now we will activate the integration by clicking on the slider icon. We'll get prompted with this modal where we will check the boxes to enable tracing for better data insight if we have to debug in the monitoring page, and then also include the payload. And that's it. Let's run through the form again and submit the data, and then go back to the tracking inside the monitoring on OIC where we can see the completed run. Here is that business identifier that we had to configure earlier. So if we click in, we can view the tracing. If this integration were to have failed, the module around the fault would be outlined in red, and you could go into the activity stream and view the payload. And then just running through the systems again to show the data propagated through. So that's it for this walkthrough. Thank you for your time, and hope you'll join me again on our next video of Oracle Cloud products.